Hey MMS, so today we're going to be learning from Chapter 2. We're just starting it, so this is going to be the first lesson in Chapter 2. Chapter 2, Lesson 1, Decimals and Fractions. Okay, a lot of what we're doing today is learning how to convert from a decimal to a fraction, and then how to convert from a fraction to a decimal. One thing we are definitely going to need is this place value. So I would take a moment right now, copy everything that's down here, and then after you copy this down, we don't have too much writing after that. And if you can't read this, just pause it, and you might have to rotate your computer. I think you'll be okay though. Over here we have write decimals as fractions or mixed numbers and simplify, and then we have a few things down here. Okay, so you might have to just pause that real quick to write it down. All right. Let's get started. So we are writing, the first thing we're going to do is write decimals as fractions or mixed numbers. And then we have to remember to simplify, okay? So we're given decimals, these decimals right here, this is what we're given, and we want to convert them, we want to write them as fractions or mixed numbers. And we're going to use this place value chart to help us. So hopefully this is review, okay? Hopefully this is something you did in 5th grade, but it's okay if you forgot or if you maybe didn't learn it. We'll learn it today. So I'm going to highlight this place value chart real quick because we really want to make sure that we are always using this and we have this in our papers. It's going to help us. Okay, so I highlighted it. That way we know it's very important. So let's start off by first writing the decimal 0.6 as a fraction. Okay, and just to review our place value real quick, we have thousands, okay, which is in the thousand spot. We have hundreds, we have tens, ones, we have our decimal, and our decimal, if we were to say it, and we're saying a number, we would say it as and. Okay, we'll go over that in a little bit. We have tenths, hundreds, and thousands. And notice everything to the right of the decimal has the ending THS. Okay, that's another hint if you ever see it written out that it's to the right of the decimal. You want to make sure to say it with that THS sound. So tenths, hundredths, thousands, okay? Okay, so we want to convert or write 0.6 as a fraction. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write it in here. I'm going to imagine writing it because I can't make too many place values, but you can write it in yours if you want, or just imagine it along with me. So 0.6. I would put the 0 right here in the 1 spot, so 0.6, okay? The 6 would go in the 10 spot, 0.6. But the way that I would say it is going to be 0 and 6 tenths. 0 and 6 tenths. Okay, I have to say whatever number my decimal falls on, like the last number that it's placed in, you have to say the word along with it. So 0 and 6 tenths. And the way that I say it is the way that I'm going to write it. So when I write it in my fraction form, I'm going to write it just the way that I said it. 0 and 6 tenths. So let's write that. So I have 6. I'm just ignoring my 0 here. So 6 tenths. Okay? 6 tenths. So because I said tenths, I know that in my fraction I should have a 10 here. 6 tenths. Okay? Now all I need to do is simplify. I wrote my decimal in fraction form. Now is the simplifying. So what I notice about 6 and 10, to simplify, I need to find a common factor. Okay, they're both even numbers. So if they're both even numbers, I can just divide them both by 2. Once I divide them both by 2, I have the fraction that I want. Okay, so 0.6, 6/10 is the same as 3/5. I didn't change the fraction, okay, I just made it look smaller. Okay, let's try 0.45. So 0.45. Okay, how I would say it is 45 hundredths. 45 hundredths. You can also say 0 and 45 hundredths. Okay, don't forget the hundredths. So the way that I say it is the way I'm going to write it. 0 and 45 hundredths. 0 and 45 hundredths. So 45 hundredths. Okay, see how I wrote that? 45 over 100. Now I need to simplify. So just by looking at this, by looking at the 45, I know that 5 goes into 45. And I know that 5 goes into 100. So I'm going to simplify them by dividing both numbers by 5. Okay, 45 divided by 5 is going to be 9, and 100 divided by 5 is going to be 20. So I've got my fraction, it's simplified, okay, 0.45 or 45 hundredths is 9/20. Okay, let's try another one over here. So we have 0.375. So we would write that, the 0 would go here, okay, 0.375. If you notice, our 5 ends over here in the thousands. So the way that we would say that is 0 and 375 thousandths, okay? Or you can say 375 thousandths. So the way that I say it is the way that I'm going to write it. 375 thousandths, so 375 thousandths. Okay, and now I need to simplify this as well. And it is a large number, but if I imagine this as being like almost like money, I know that 25 goes into 375, okay, just by knowing my facts. My number facts, right? 25, 50, 75. So I know that 25 will go into both of these numbers. And you can use a calculator. So I'm dividing both numbers by 25. 375 divided by 25 is going to be 15. 1,000 divided by 25 is going to be 40. Okay, but we're not done. This isn't completely simplified. We can still simplify. Okay, so let's divide top and bottom again by 5, because 5 goes into both of these. $15 divided by 5. You can also think of it as how many times does 5 go into 15? How many times does 5 go into 40? Okay, so my answer is 3/8. So 0.375 or 375 thousandths is the same as 3/8. Okay. All right, let's try this one. This last one, 2.05. That's our last decimal. And this one will actually turn out to be a mixed number. So remember, we said that we could write decimals as fractions or mixed numbers. So far, we have been writing all these decimals as fractions. Okay, now we're going to write this decimal as a mixed number. So looking at our chart, okay, our place value, we would put the 2 in the 1 spot, so 2.05. Okay, but the way we would say it, 2.05, we would say it as 2 and 5 hundredths. So you don't say the 0. So 2 and 5 hundredths. So the way that we say it is the way that we're going to write it. And remember, this is a mixed number. So our whole number, what we have in the 1 spot is 2. So 2 and 5 hundredths. 5 hundredths. Okay? So I wrote this as a mixed number. 2 and 5 hundredths. Now I just need to simplify. And the only thing I'm going to be simplifying is this fraction right here, because it's okay if it's in a mixed number. Okay, so I'm just simplifying this fraction. So 5 goes into both of these numbers, 5 and 100. Once I simplify, I'm going to get 2 and 1/20. Okay, that is my mixed number for the decimal 2.05. And that is how you write decimals as fractions or mixed numbers. So the way you say it is the way you write it. Okay, last thing we are going to practice today, writing fractions as decimals. Okay, so let's write a few fraction examples down. Okay, so let's have 3 fraction examples. The first is going to be right with a different color. So let's do 3/5, 1/20, and let's have a mixed number here, 18 and 22/40. Okay, so let's start with 3/5. What I'm doing right now is dividing numerator by denominator. Okay, so divide numerator by denominator. So for all of these, I'm going to divide numerator by denominator. And yes, you can use your calculator. Okay, so when we're using our calculator, all we have to make sure to do to show our work is write down what we put in our calculator. So for 3/5, if we put that into our calculator, we're typing in 3 divided by 5. And if you type that into your calculator, you're going to get 0.6. Okay, so that's how you write a fraction as a decimal. Let's try this one over here, 1/20. We're dividing our numerator by our denominator. So in our calculator, we're going to write 1 divided by 20, and we are going to get 0.05. Okay, last one is 18 and 22/40. So for this one, it's our mixed number, okay? So we already know that 18 is going to be part of our decimal because that's our whole number. What we need to convert to get our right side of the decimal is going to be this 22/40. So for this 22/40, I'm going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So I'm going to take this part, I'm going to put that into my calculator, 22 divided by 40, and you should get 0.55. Okay, So put this part into your calculator and you're going to get 0.55. Now, I'm not done, okay? I need to make sure I include this in my entire mixed number. Okay, I need to include the 18. So my mixed number would be 18.55. Okay? And that's it. So make sure you are dividing numerators by denominators and put this into your calculator.